Hi folks, it's Connie from Faff Designs. I'm a professional furniture painter and I am also a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint. In the tutorial you're about to watch, I'm going to show you the transformation of this piece from start to finish, from a boring pine chest of drawers into this turquoise boho beauty. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. So these drawers, the prep is slightly different because they're waxed. What you're going to need to remove wax is white spirits, some wire wool and some blue shop cloth or a rag. All you do is pour some of the white spirits on the surface that's waxed. In this case, the entire drawers are waxed. Pour some wax on the surface and take your wire wool, rip a small piece off, scrub the wax with the wire wool and then wipe the excess off with the shop cloth or the rag, and just keep repeating until there's no wax left at all on the surface. This wax is a sort of orangey colour, so I could tell when the wax was removed because it was a different colour underneath. The raw wood was much lighter, so you just have to keep going. You need a little bit of elbow grease. It's a bit messy. It took me quite a while to do the entire piece, but it's definitely worth it because otherwise your paint won't adhere to the surface. This is just a close-up of exactly the same process. You can see on this shot the colour changing, so that when the wax is being stripped off with the wire wool and the white spirit solution, you can see the pale pine underneath exposed. I've just sped this clip up because it's quite painstaking to watch back. I mean, the process itself was bad enough, but having to watch that, you kind of get the gist. You just have to keep going until all the wax is removed. So we are still at the prep stage. We're still removing wax, but it's just a little tip that I thought would be worth showing you on camera, that when you are removing wax off a side is to tip it over so that it's flat, and that means the wax isn't going to run off all over the place and create big puddles all over the floor. You can keep it contained to that one specific area that you're working on. Okay, we've finally stripped the wax, so the next step is to clean the drawers all over with Dixie Belle's White Lightning. The way that I do that is I get some warm water in a bucket, tip the White Lightning in, probably a little bit too much in that case, mix it up in the warm water, grab a microfiber cloth, which I've just wandered off to go and find somewhere because I wasn't prepared, and give them a really good scrub. That's because some white spirits can have oils in, which again will act as a resist if you don't remove that residue. So just a plain microfiber cloth, dip it in the warm water and White Lightning solution, and just give them a really good scrub. Again, I have sped this up a little bit because, you know, you just want to crack on and see the good bit, I imagine, with me painting. But it is worth me mentioning again to wear gloves with White Lightning because it can be quite harsh on your hands if you don't. Once they've had a really good clean, the next thing is you need to rinse them. Again, if you skip this step, it can cause adhesion issues. So I use a clean microfiber cloth and some fresh clean water, and just give it a really good wipe over to remove any White Lightning residue. Just sped this up again, so we're doing a little bit of speed cleaning now. Just make sure you rinse your microfiber cloth off regularly in the bucket of warm water, wring it out and go in again with your clean cloth. Okay, so the next step after that's completely been prepped, so we've removed wax, we've cleaned with white lightning and rinse, and now I need to fill the existing hardware holes where there was some round pine knobs with Dixie Mud. So I'm going to use brown in this case because I'm going to be painting over the top of it, so it really doesn't matter. And I'm using the mud spatula to just fill the hole with Dixie Mud, because I'm going to use different handles on this piece, so I don't want any holes showing. Once the Dixie Mud is completely dry, I then went over the entire piece with my sander and a 120 grit paper attached to it to just give it a really good sanding all over. Again, I have sped this process up. I wish I could sand this quickly in real life, but I can't, unfortunately. But it's just basically going over the entire piece with the sander, which is going to give the paint a really good key to adhere to. Once they were sanded, I took a clean, dry microfiber cloth just to remove any dust residue that's on the surface of the drawers, because you don't want that getting in your paint. Now we're actually getting onto the painting. I say painting, I mean priming. So pine is prone to bleed through. I'm using a relatively light colour called Mermaid Tail to paint this chest of drawers. So I am using grey Boss to prevent that bleed through from seeping through into the final colour that I'm going to be doing. So Boss is Dixie Belle's stain blocking primer. It comes in 3 colours. It comes in white, clear and grey, and it really depends on the project that you're working on as to the colour that you choose. In this case I'm using grey. The coverage is fabulous. I'm going to be doing 2 coats and I'm going to roller it on. If you've noticed, I do line my roller trays with tin foil because it stops me having to clean my trays out when I've finished painting. You can just screw the tin foil up and throw it away. Same process here, just on a drawer front, and you can see how well the Grey Boss covers. It really is fabulous coverage. I do usually apply Boss with a roller just because it's super quick, super easy. You get fabulous coverage and really smooth coverage as well, which is essential if you want a smooth finish on your paintwork. Okay, what you can just see me doing on the top of this piece is sanding down the primer with a Dixie Belle sanding sponge. I did sand lightly in between coats, and that just makes the application of the paint a lot smoother. Going straight into paint, there really wasn't a gap there. This colour is Mermaid Tail. It's a bright turquoise and it's one of my favourites. It's a gorgeous colour, and we're going for an all over one colour finish of Mermaid Tail. We're not going to be doing any blending on this piece. The effects that I'm going to be used afterwards are with waxes. I am using a Dixie Belle Mini here, which is one of my favourite brushes. It's a synthetic brush and it applies the paint beautifully. I'm using long strokes with a water mister with just plain water in, which makes the paint glide on and it makes it go a little bit further as well. first coat of speed painting done. So this is the second coat now, and I always do a minimum of 2 coats with colours, especially if I'm doing a block colour like this, to ensure full coverage, number one, and to make sure you get that real punch with the colour that you're using. Love that fast forward button. So this is the second coat of the drawers, and I've just slowed it down so that I can show you I'm just catching that top lip. It's quite a nice way to finish the drawers off, but make sure you do have enough clearance when your drawers are opening and closing to be able to add paint to that lip, because you don't always. And that can cause your drawers to stick and catch and all manner of things. So just make sure you've got a couple of mil spare. If you haven't, probably not worth painting that lip. Okay, we've got 2 full coats of Mermaid tail all over the drawers, and I'm going to give these a little bit of a distress around the drawer edges with some 80 grit sandpaper. It's quite abrasive, but it's the look that I'm going for on this particular piece, and it just defines the drawer edges, and it's a look that I personally really like. So you get the picture with distressing. I did that same process all over the drawers, and I'm now going to be waxing them with Best Dang Waxing Clear. It looks white in the container, but it's actually clear. And to apply wax on a very flat surface such as this, I actually use a dish sponge, which I've personally found is the best way to apply wax without getting any sort of streaks or anything in it. It gives a really good, smooth, even coat of wax, and you can apply the wax in as many layers as you need for the desired effect that you want. With this particular one, I did 1 coat of clear wax because I'm going to go in with some brown wax and do some shading shortly. So a quick snap of the boy there. So once the clear wax has been applied, you don't need to wait for it to dry. You can if you want to. And now I'm going to add some shading with Best Dang Wax in brown and the Best Dang brush, which is really, really good for applying wax with. Best Dang Wax is water-based, so if you don't like the effect that you've created, you can remove this with a damp rag or a baby wipe, and it will come straight off, which is fabulous. So my method for applying this particular wax in this particular way is loading my brush up and just swirling it on around the edges of the drawers to create shading. Now you can do this with paint. You could blend the mermaid tail into a different colour to create a similar effect, but I love using waxes to create shading and effects, so this is just my preferred method. And I'm almost blending the brown wax into the clear wax so that there's not such a harsh line between the transition of the clear wax and the brown wax. Okay, so here's the finished piece. I did add the decorative cup handles, but unfortunately forgot to press record on my camera. Put it down to a schoolboy error. So this is a close-up of the finished piece. I really hope you like the effect that I created. I know we've concentrated quite a lot on this in this video on prep work, but it had to be done. Wax has to be removed, unfortunately, to apply paint. And there's some couple of close-ups coming up and the finished staged piece. Really hope you like it, and if you could subscribe to my channel for some more tutorials, that would be fabulous.